Good morning, folks, and welcome to this road to WOF video. And please, I'm not here to teach anybody. At the end of the day, I'm not a trained mechanic, but what we're up to here was we're going to be working on getting this car running again, and it won't be a quick thing. I've got a budget to work on, and so we may just have to delay until we can make this happen. It's Easter long weekend, and the plan is to get the engine out of here and the transmission out. So yeah, the video primarily is for myself. She's pretty complex under here. If anybody knows these engines or knows anything about the Z32 cars, she's pretty dense under there, man. And it's quite impressive. Yeah, the plenum has already been removed. Got the fuel injectors out. All kinds of things have been removed. And basically what I want to start is cleaning all this up. I've got a whole lot of crap laying around here. I need as much space as I can. I might bring the car forward about half a foot so that I can make sure that this door on this side can swing open. Not that I think I need to get in there, but once I get it up on jack stands and whatnot, I want that door to be able to come open. So yeah, now a lot of people are performing deletes on these engines, deleting EGR, AIV or whatever, all these sorts of things. And I don't, as I say, I'm not a trained mechanic. Now, I've done some 100,000 kilometers approximately, just myself, since I purchased this car. This car, I'm the first owner out of Japan. I've done 100 kilometers as it was stock with all that stuff in place. So I know the car will do a fair bit of miles trouble-free in that area if I just put everything back as I found it. I know there are gains to be had here and there. It can lessen the complexity under there, make space to work on. I know all about that. It's not that I don't want to do it or whatever. I'm not a trained mechanic. The way I see it, plenty of documentation out there, a service manual and whatnot. If I just put it back the way I found it, we should be all good. And that's what I'm going to do here. If I listened to people many years ago, this thing would probably have one single turbo instead of two that it was born with. There would have been all kinds of changes, and I'm so glad that I resisted that. And we'll get this, what do you call that? My time we called it an air dam. I'm going to get that painted up. I'll probably do that myself. As part of the engine removal, we might be pulling that off anyway, and this nose cone. I'm not real sure, to be honest. There used to be a spoiler on the back of the car. That was all looking crappy looking many years ago, and I decided to remove it and put a plate across there. It just comes with a system that does not have the spoiler. And now that I'm much older and wiser and whatnot, and my thinking has changed, so at some point, this will be after I get it road legal, we're going to put that spoiler back on there. Now, I don't have one. I'm going to have to buy one. And I don't know if I'll get the original factory one, because when I took that factory spoiler off, I could not believe how heavy that thing was. The struts that hold up the hatch, at the time that I removed the spoiler, it was not able to hold the hatch up. Once I took that spoiler off, it was kind of some sort of rubbery substance, very heavy. I was shocked just how heavy that thing was. Yeah, it was all crusty and cracked and whatnot, so that's long gone. It's been binned, so I'm going to have to find a replacement. I may go for an aftermarket, a much lighter version, as long as it looks the same as what come out of there. I don't have the light panel that used to be in there. I'm going to have to sort that out. So yeah, we'll just, that, as I say, that'll be far ahead of getting this thing road legal. But we'll just chip away at it. And the other thing is, at the back there, it's got the sort of the middle panel between the brake lights and whatnot. That actually used to glow green when I first bought the car. When I got the car, I think it was something like 70,000 kilometres on it. 74 sort of rings a bell. 74,000 kilometres. Anyway, for some time, that whole emblem glowed green, 300ZX or whatever it was. I don't know how, but again, I'm wanting to get this back to how it's supposed to be. I want that thing glowing green again. This car is the only car I have ever seen, ever, that had that glowing green emblem in the middle. I've never seen one ever since this one burned out. I don't know what happened to it. It just, and there was some sort of control box in there to control it. Something was wrong. That control box, I think I've binned that. But anyway, we'll get that going again. It's twin turbo. I'm wanting to get the transmission out of here. Again, I'll go through the history of this more in depth later on, but all you need to know is I'm just up to here with so-called pros doing work on this car and getting lesser results. The car has not been road legal since 2014. I reluctantly drove it hundreds of kilometres, maybe over 1,000 kilometres. That was the last drive I did, road legal. We had smoke entering the cabin. It all boils down to an oil leak that I paid a lot of money for. Again, pros to get on top of that. I don't want to get into that too much, but at the end of the day, the car drove beautifully except for this oil leak, and I just got fed up with work that I had paid for with lesser results, and I decided enough's enough. I didn't want anybody touching the car anymore. I decided I'll park the car and I'll fix it myself once I have the free time and I'm in a suitable sort of space in my life to do so. So here we are. What else do I need to say? There's a cavity up there. At some point I want to try and do some tests with this engine hoist about how high it can go up. And I've got this 2,000 kilograms, I believe, leveler. I just picked that up yesterday. So by putting this in between the engine hoist, obviously we're going to increase the distance between there and the engine lift point, which means we'll end up decreasing just how much we can lift it by adding that. So I don't even know if I need that yet, but I decided I'll get it anyway. I've had the aircon gas removed. It's illegal to knowingly release aircon gas into the atmosphere. So apparently people are removing these engines without removing the gas, but I didn't want to take any chance. After all, we're in the Easter holiday break here. A lot of places I expect will be closed, certainly today and even tomorrow. A lot of businesses will only be open sort of half a day. We're going to renew the covers on the seats inside here in the cabin. I do know the car actually drove. The last time it drove was the very first day before level 4, hardcore level 4 COVID lockdown. The car drove for about probably not even 15 minutes, and it was only running on 5, maybe even 4 cylinders at that time. It was a desperate race to get out of a rental property into a new one before lockdown. I didn't even know there was going to be a lockdown until we got news the day before, and so I reluctantly drove it. When it got parked back in 2014, it was firing on all cylinders. I expect the gasoline has gotten into there, buggered up the injectors and whatnot. But that's fine. I want to take this engine out anyway and get on top of this oil leak. And we may be going down to valve stem seals. I wouldn't mind getting those replaced. I'll look at doing that. I've got a bore scope somewhere. I'll look down into the cylinders and I want to have a look down in there, see how that's looking. The transmission was something about 95,000 kilometers. Remember, I bought it at about 74,000 kilometers. Approximately 95,000 kilometers. The transmission shat itself. I had an employee back in the day and I sent her off to do some errands. And she calls me and says, "Oh, the car's not moving." "Oh, what do you mean?" "It just won't move. The engine's running." So I went out there and sure enough, the transmission was slipping. So that's actually been rebuilt. There was a company here in Frankton, Hamilton. It was called Torque Winders. That was done under a mechanical breakdown insurance job, and the guy there said to me, "We can beef up the," I don't know what it was, what do you call those things, plates, "we can beef those up or whatever and give it some more durability on so it'll last a bit longer," that sort of thing. "Would you like to go ahead? It'll be this much 100 more." I said, "Yes, please." So that's all been done. But remember, I've done, if not 100,000, pretty close to it since that point. But I'm hoping we're good to go. There was no issue with it when I parked it up 2014. So that's where I'm at. Right now, I just want to take care of a few things in here. As I say, I've taken the plenum off. I'm going to do some taping and sealing and make sure all the labels, and I'm just happy because I took the plenum off nearing a year, maybe a year ago now. It didn't intend to be like that. It was sort of a mad rush because we had our Mini Cooper had a major problem. We had to drop the valve seat, and I just sort of sat on that. I didn't want to get it serviced immediately until I could verify it with my own eyeballs. But in the meantime, we had no car, so I desperately thought, well, maybe I can get this going quickly. And one thing led to another, and bailed on that idea, got the Mini going, and about a year later, I'm back on this. So I'm determined to get this thing running. It's a beautiful car, it drives well, and you may laugh, but to me it's part of the family. It's a forever car, and a lot of memories with this car. The day of my marriage, my wife came, and we got married. She came in this car, and we departed in this car. We had ribbons over here and whatnot. Yeah, so it's time to get it going. If things go really, really well, I'm hoping to book this onto the ferry and go down to the South Island. My wife is not a born and bred Kiwi, and she's always been asking, "Let's go to the South Island. Can we go to the South Island? I want to have a look at the South Island." And a lot of family members may know that was our original plan, was to go there when we came back to New Zealand to go to the South Island and settle down. And one thing led to another. There was a large earthquake down there, jobs, all this sort of thing. Life just sort of got in the way. the earthquake was a big killer there, so we never got down there and settled. So I'd like to go down there, and as I say, if all goes well, I'm hoping we can take this. If we can't get this going, we won't be going, because at the end of the day, I want to go in this, not the Mini or any other method. And yeah, looking forward to it. So that's it. Going to clean up and get into it. Start taping up some of these hoses and whatever else. I'm just going to take this nose cone off. Oops. It's the micro switch for the bonnet, and it goes to the alarm system, so the car won't start unless that's closed, if I remember right. I think it will start if the bonnet's already up and you've disarmed the alarm. I think it'll start. Anyway, something to remember. Let's put those back in there so I don't get lost. Where do we start? I'm going to have to lift this thing up, I suppose, figure it out. So when I purchased this car, it had this thing here sticking up. I think it's got another extension there. I can't remember if it's got a light there or not. But anyway, that used to be up. There's a switch inside to control this. And but that switch never operated it, but I never bothered about it. Yeah, it was fine, sitting there. One day I took it in to get serviced, or warrant of fitness or something, I can't remember what it was. When I picked up the car, this was down. I thought, oh great. Maybe when I took it in for service, maybe they decided to fix this as well. But in the inspection, I looked under here and I can see someone had just basically pushed down on it from the service centre, pushed down on it, and basically busted this. How does it go? Anyway, busted this off. Basically it curls up like that, and someone had gone and pushed it down. I could see this was all shattered in there. Yeah, I wasn't really impressed, but this was getting close to the time where I just had enough of mechanics basically. So anyway, I'm just going to shove this back in there. Once I get the bumper off, I'll label these cables and whatnot. I'm not quite sure what that is. Maybe that was the control switch that ran up into the cabin, but yeah, I've never seen that before. Anyway, I'm just going to shove that back in there, because that was sort of preventing this coming away. Do I need to take that thing out? I don't think so. I think that can stay there. The way that it's mounted in there, it kind of looks factory, to be honest. Anyway, let's poke that back in there. I need to make sure I have at least one screw on this end. And I do. It's about there. Well, it's a nut. So I'll just leave that there. It looks like these might stay with the car. Some sort of weird thing going on when I try to loosen that screw. Yeah, that might stay with the car, so we'll see how we go. So I think that side's all free. It's all loose down the bottom here. So let's go and do what I done on this side. Let's go and replicate that and remove the screws from the other side. I'll write on here, what do you call this thing? Park assist antenna bracket. I don't mind that, it kind of gives it that 80s look. Sorry, 90s look. Okay, let's come across to this side. Two, three. Jesus Christ, all of those are quite loose. Let's see how far I can back that off before it detaches. Quite a bit. That's all right. Come on, come on, you can do it. You can do it. Oh my Lord. Hallelujah. We did it. All right, let's go through this. That face there goes in between there. And we've got a bolt there, a bolt there. And we've got a plastic thing going through there and there. There, then there. So get that plastic thing out, that'll come free, and then you got this sort of a sharp jagged thing here, and it kind of digs into this bit, which kind of wants to grab onto this and not let it go. So got to free this corner away here. Same on that side. We've got 1, 2, 3 bolts there. You take those 3 out. Allows you to pull this liner back, wheel arch liner, which will then allow you to get to another bolt that's coming up to there, which is holding that in. And then coming through the indicator, you'll come up, you see this hole here, is it that one? No, that's the plug. So coming in through the indicator, you've got to take out a bolt there, which is coming through here as well. And they can just sort of hang there. I think this could have been stuck to that, but then you're going to have to get that out, which is not easy because the bolt head is on that side. But anyway, that's how I've done it. I see these holes here are quite large. It probably allows you to adjust the panel gap. So, yeah. And then what you've got, where is it? Did I need to take that off? Did I really need to do that? Just give me a moment. 1, 2, yes. So there's 2 bolts up in here. 1, 2, and they're on an angle, which is quite tricky because you can't get a standard socket on that angle because of this bottom face here. I can't get a regular ring spanner on there because of the angle. It's sort of like that angle there, and it's in there. And you can kind of get at it with a good screwdriver, but I think I've munted one of those bolts. I've got a hex head, or you can get to it with a screwdriver in the middle. But yeah, quite tricky, but now I can see that yes, you've got to get that off. And then also there's a plate. Where's that plate? This plate here goes on this bottom lip down there. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, this plate goes in there. Nuts coming up from underneath, which holds, I don't know what you call that. Is that a splash guard, is it? Or under tray. So you've got to get those out. 1, 2, 3. I took out the number plate fixture, and do I need to take that out? Maybe not. Let me check that. Where on earth did I put that? Hello, number plate fixture. Alright, so that's the number plate holder, or whatever you want to call it. And that gets mounted there, and that is attached to that, so I could have left that on there. However, I don't really like that there. I'm going to see the testing station and see if I can put a number plate on that face. It's going to be on an angle, but we'll see what they say. In New Zealand we can now get quite thin black plates. I'm going to get new plates put on here. I've got personalised plates, but I'll get them redesigned and I'll put black, very simple but black plates on here, because I think black goes good on against the white. But it'll be very nice if the testing station will allow me to put it there. I don't like the idea of a big plate blocking all this. Well, I'm happy about that. We made some progress today. What I need to do now is bag up the rest of these nuts and bolts and whatnot. I don't know where the hell I'm going to store this. Again, I think I'll pallet wrap it, maybe some bubble wrap, and stick it under the house. It's pretty dry under there, because I don't got storage for this, man. Once that engine comes out,